Previously on Funny Science Fiction.
The deal was if we touched the white horse, we got a dozen of beer. So we really try to touch the horse, not get Frodo. But don't tell anyone that.
It's your friendly neighborhood Master Alan, and welcome to the Funny Science Fiction Podcast.
The podcast where we turn being a special kind of awkward into being a special kind of cool. It's just our thing. Now, our guest today is a longtime sci-fi and Star Wars fan. So much so that he started a lightsaber company called Level Up Lightsabers. And so we're really excited to talk with him. His name is Alan White, or Master Alan, as you may know him from TikTok. He's a lightsaber maker and a martial arts trainer. So we're very excited to talk to Alan today and get an inside look into what makes him, his lightsabers, and his style of martial arts so cool.
Welcome to the show, Alan. May the force be
I'm
with
excited to be here. I've been looking forward to this since we started talking about it.
Yeah, I've been watching you on TikTok, and I have to admit I follow you. I'm pretty excited about some of the stuff that you do. I like your stuff. I like your content, and I like that it's not all serious. It's not all you don't have to be an uber nerd to understand what you're talking about. So I like that. But I want to start off by talking about your lightsabers, if you don't mind.
It's where everybody wants to start.
I know.
No, that sounds good.
Nobody cares about me anymore.
Everybody asks about the lightsaber.
Nobody. Okay, I'm gonna start calling you.
Thanks for noticing.
Thanks for noticing me.
It's like when
All
I was
right.
a kid. Nobody cares about you anymore.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's the thing that happens in life sometimes, where like people aren't exactly sure what else to ask about, so they start with the easy one because then you can kind of develop rapport.
Well,
Like,
it is the low-hanging fruit. Let's admit it.
Yeah, when you're
What we
a
aim
senior
for
in high
here.
school, everybody asks you what college you're applying to. When you're in college, everybody asks what major you are. Like there's just every stage of life. There's like the layup question that people open with. And
Absolutely.
when
Well,
you're the face of a business, that's the layup question that people are going to start with.
Well, we strive to be a number 2 podcast. We never want to be number 1. So
Like I said, low-hanging fruit is what we can reach easily.
we go for the easies.
There we go.
But one of the things, being a Star Wars nerd as I am, a longtime fan, and I love lightsabers, and I've been researching lightsabers so that I, like the ones that I will get to arrive at my house that I get to go vroom with. There's varying levels of quality. There's so many options out there with all these different manufacturers of lightsabers.
And
So-
it's hard to know what features mean because people use
Right.
similar language but not necessarily the same. And
Right. Yeah. There's so many things that can become confusing to, even though I'm a Star Wars fan, I still consider myself the layperson when it comes to this type of topic. But what was it about lightsabers that made you look at the market and go, you know what, I need to make a lightsaber company? And what's the benefit of like a guy like me buying from a guy like you?
So there's a really long part to this story, and I'll keep it as condensed as I can,
We
so
got
that
time.
we get
Go
to
ahead.
talk about more fun stuff than me. 5 years ago, I started a lightsaber training program that I launched to a website. I've been developing the curriculum and working on it. Previous to that, all my lightsaber curriculum started as samurai sword.
Okay.
And now I know I don't look it. My grandmother's from Okinawa, and so nobody assumes in any of my conversations with them, even if they've known me for a while, that I'm a quarter Japanese. But that kind of began part of my interest in the samurai. Plus, like, I grew up in elementary school, was like peak Ninja Turtles, and then
Sure.
it went from there to Rurouni Kenshin. Like I've had lots and lots of opportunity to like get some of the like the romanticized, samurai sword and ninja stuff. And so then once I was old enough to start pursuing those martial arts, because I had already been a martial artist, I started in like 5th grade. then as a pretty experienced martial artist, as I got out of high school and got into college, I trained in Aikido, which there's a whole section of Aikido curriculum called Aikiken, which is samurai sword. There's the Meimoto sword style is a family style that I've got components of, and there's a lot of other sort of materials available to pursue it. And because Japan adopted rifles as a part of military much later than other sections of the world, that type of combat had this really long period of time in Japan where it has lots of variations and lots of metas, because like every combat develops a meta, like video games do, where there's a like, oh well, this new armor makes it so that this thing we were doing doesn't work anymore, so we need a new thing. This new weapon makes it so that this way that we were deploying our troops doesn't work anymore. We just end up getting all of our fodder turned into fodder. So it's the way that history changed around the sword changed the way that the sword was used. So there's this like big continuum that's also really well documented, and there are lots of people that have preserved it and still teach it. And, so there's a wealth of resources to kind of draw from. And now in my sword class, I had a lot of trouble keeping people, because if I hold them a wooden sword that is generally sword shaped, and I say, pretend this is a sword, and then we start doing sword stuff, most people can kind of pretend that it's a sword, okay. As soon as I discovered some of the durable lightsabers that exist, I was like, well, wait a minute. This could be fun. And so then the samurai sword class, which I was having a lot of trouble retaining people and keeping people engaged and things like that, it became a lightsaber class. And so I started accumulating different durable lightsabers from different manufacturers and running my class with those. And I have found that I can hand anybody something that looks more or less like this, and whether it lights up or not, they have this much trouble pretending that it's a lightsaber.
True, I can see that.
Guys, we're gonna put sounds in post. And if you haven't heard that story in Phantom Menace, George Lucas had to keep saying, guys, we're gonna put the sounds in post, because
So much fun to make the sounds myself.
Yeah, anybody who holds anything like lightsaber shaped, it doesn't even have to be a lightsaber. They're going to make the lightsaber noises.
wrapping paper tube. We've all been that kid or
Oh,
that
absolutely.
adult.
Absolutely. Still am that adult.
I need to find that video and share it at some point again. I have a video of my husband and his best friend having a lightsaber battle in our backyard.
That is
bagpipe
epic.
music. So
In kilts.
Oh, that makes it
in
better.
well, John's in kilt. Lucas isn't.
Oh, that's
So
right.
that might need to be
John
added
will.
into a
That's
podcast.
marvelous. That is
It's spectacular.
awesome. But that was the beginning of Level Up Lightsaber, because martial arts and video game leveling work the same way. And so gamification is something that gets talked about in the fitness industry, in the corporate world. Like there's all kinds of places that are like, oh, hey, these RPGs are onto something. Like if we have people, approach this like RPGs, then they self-motivate more effectively because of all this stuff. Martial arts have been structured that way for forever, and so have a lot of other activities. And so that was the genesis of the Level Up name. And then during quarantine, where the dojo was struggling to make sure that we're staying alive, and it's been a very interesting 12 months for a martial arts school, let me tell you. It also gave me the opportunity to start looking at manufacturers for lightsabers, because there are a lot of companies that sell sabers, but there aren't that many that make sabers.
Right.
Like that's sort of one of the limitations. And now one of the things I experienced as a teacher using a lot of other people's product was that I had lots of really bad customer service experiences. And I am not going to name anybody.
Oh, that's fine. We'd rather you
because
didn't.
I don't. Yeah, and because I don't know enough about the internal situations of those, of those companies and everything else. They're also a lot bigger than me.
Right.
And so those are all things that I don't want to put to the front because it doesn't make sense. But what I was motivated by was like as challenging a time as I had, the times that I needed to activate sort of customer service trees, I basically said to myself, I can't be worse than that. I can clear the bar of what I had previously experienced.
Okay.
And if I can clear that bar, then I am comfortable starting this, because starting the training site, it was difficult to get people to sign up. There was a strong hesitation from a lot of folks because they either didn't already have a Saber, or they had a Saber and, you know, the extra expenditure for training or lessons or whatever, there was like a friction there.
Sure.
And so if I can find a manufacturer that makes something I'm happy with, which I did, it took me a while to tell you. But if I can find a manufacturer I'm happy with, then I can sell Sabers, include the membership for free, because I want to be a teacher. I don't want to be Jeff Bezos of Lightsaber. Like I'm an instructor.
Yeah, I get
I'm a
that.
martial arts instructor. That's like, most people are only good at one thing. And I got martial arts instructor and dad. And so like I got one more than a lot of people have.
Fair enough.
Working on adding husband to that too, and you know, being a better husband and being a better man. But that was what got me to start.
Okay.
And then on December 23rd, I went viral for saying that my lightsaber was better than a stick, which I thought was a reasonable guarantee that I could make. Like, I can make a lightsaber that's better than a stick. I guarantee you that it's going to be better than a stick.
Lightsaber,
Right.
Stick.
That's an accomplishable goal.
I would say, yeah, that was pretty safe.
But a 250,000 people saw that video in like 4 days.
Nice.
And that launched me from, well, we're going to try this, we're going to try selling them and see how it goes, to we're effectively on our legs, and it changed my timeline for everything.
Nice.
And it's been very, very exciting. It's also been dizzying because
I'm sure. Yeah, I've popped in on a few of your TikTok lives where you're literally trying to talk to people on TikTok while you're boxing up lightsabers and sending them out and telling people, hey, this is so-and-so's order. Hey, you're in the chat. And by the way, I'm boxing up your lightsaber right now. And it's just, you know, that was kind of cool. For me, anyway, I thought that was cool.
There's a lot of just online retail in general. There are a lot of disingenuous websites out there, and it can be really hard when you get advertised to by something. An advertisement in a website will look credible, but the company might not be what they claim to be, and it's really hard to know.
Right.
And so by being able to pop on live, talk to people, answer questions, and let people see that like I'm physically packaging product, that's something that helps people know that I'm not a scam.
No, I think it's a huge feather in your cap, like, honestly.
It
really is, because you know, not only that, but I think the fact that in a lot of your videos, not a lot of your videos, but in some of your videos, you show off your sabers and how you're using them while you're talking them. You're sitting there, you're spinning them around and you know, doing all the cool stuff that all of us other nerds are out doing with sticks. You know, and because you know, literally 2 days ago, I was out in my yard, picked up a stick, and yeah. So but yeah, so I think that's a really cool thing that you do with your TikTok account is you show off the product, and frankly, you're selling the product without selling the product. And I think that's a really cool way of doing it.
And that is one of the benefits of social media and this technological day and age, is that you can connect with small businesses so much easier.
And a business like me, I also I get to be a creator. I can hop on and I can have fun, and I can let it be about like the positivity within the community and joy. Because sharing joy is something that and I have to credit my wife on introducing this to me. But the concept of sharing joy is is such an important thing, and it gets lost in our daily life, and it can especially get lost in social media because everything's so like everything has such a short shelf life now.
Mm-hmm.
Like something will go viral and it'll be hot for a day and a half, and then if you're on the end of that day and a half, then you'll receive criticism for jumping onto it late or being a bandwagon or whatever.
Right.
Like there's just so much like, and one of the things that we'll do without even realizing it, and it's a kind of a sort of a trap of short attention span, is somebody will say, I saw this really cool thing, and they'll show it to you, and then like a lot of people, one of their first reactions will be, oh yeah, I saw that this morning.
Right.
And there's no like there's no reciprocation of the joy, there's no sharing the joy with that person, there's no like amplifying it or anything. It's just like they express joy, and then it gets to you and it just dies, and that's done. that's the exact opposite of what I want to try to do personally. And so having now an audience where I get to put my money where my mouth is in terms of being positive and sharing positivity and giving people a toolbox for that, while also playing with lightsabers as a business expense, but it's not bad, you know. And
there's a much worse ways you could go about things.
Yeah,
for sure. So let's talk about your fandoms a little bit and the things that got you to where you're at. So clearly you talked about like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and that kind of stuff as you were growing up. But what are some of your sci-fi influences? If you were to say, here's my things, the cube that shaped me. What are your like say top 5 sci-fis?
There's so much, because there's a lot of the sci-fi from my youth was really focused on, and because Star Wars is a good example, hope, challenging adversity, possibility, right? And so I was a Star Trek fan, something that has not always been popular to say in the Star Trek community. And at this point, I'm an adult, so I'm not worried about it anymore. Deep Space Nine is my favorite Star Trek.
Cool.
There's so many really cool things they got to do with that show because of the format and the form and everything else. Like, and it's full of really, really challenging situations that people have to navigate through with cooperation and empathy and like that sort of thing. It's not people having to turn to somebody that has all the answers and all the abilities and then letting them work. It's a lot more the ensemble. Like the Spider-Man cartoon was a huge part of my existence for a while. It was the Fox same company that did the X-Men cartoon. For whatever reason, Spider-Man clicked with me a whole lot harder. And I'm very excited that is now on Disney Plus, so I get to share it with my kids when they're a little older.
I love Disney Plus. Oh boy, that's that whole. Oh, it is. I love
so much good stuff.
The Marvel animation. When I found that on Disney Plus, I was like, oh,
so.
Hey, honey, you're not gonna see me for like a week.
My husband and daughter have been watching so much stuff together.
Yeah, and there are so many things that are very evergreen from that, like like the stories are interesting, the things that have sort of lessons, the lessons are still applicable.
Between Disney Plus and HBO Max right now, those are my 2 favorite streaming services. HBO Max has picked up all the old DC comics, the Justice League comics, and
they're owned by Warner Brothers, so it's like that's all the same.
Oh man, and so the original Batman series with Conroy and Hamill and all those guys in it, and it's just holy cow!
It's an amazing, like everybody that worked on that's one of those things that you can look back at that point in your career and recognize how special that show was, like just how incredible it was, especially for its era, and how ambitious it was in terms of what it was trying to do, but the way it was able to do it.
I have a dream that one day we'll be able to have those guys on, that I'll be able to sit, and talk with Kevin Conroy, and I'll be able to talk with Mark Hamill. And once I'm done giggling from fanboying, I would like to be, because that's going to be a thing. Trust me.
You have giggled
no way around
so hard with some of our other guests that I can only imagine.
Yeah, the level of giggling would be intense. But I'd love to sit across from them and tell them thank you for making my childhood awesome. With their work and what they did, because I hear other people try, doing Batman, and I'm like, no, you're not Kevin Conroy. It doesn't work.
One of the things that you mentioned at the beginning, and since I'm responsible for derailing us, then I'll take responsibility for getting us back on tracks.
Go for it. Okay.
Is having a sort of the question or the uncertainty around like what different things mean in the lightsaber industry.
Yeah.
And I mentioned this at the top, since a lot of people use similar terminology for not necessarily the same thing, it makes it really hard to know what you're getting unless you've bought a lot of stuff or somebody that you can ask to sort of translate everything into same jargon.
Right.
And then on social media platforms like TikTok or YouTube, there is something that gets referenced a lot called Neopixel. And Neopixel is held on this pedestal, but Neopixel it's more expensive, and it's not necessarily the best lightsaber solution for a lot of people. Like we're adding Neopixel to the site here pretty soon when we add some of the new handle designs and stuff like that. But Neopixel is absolutely not the right solution for me personally. And so that's why I didn't prioritize adding that when we got the site launched.
Okay.
Because Neopixel can do a lot of cool stuff. The stuff it's capable of doing, all very cool. But the Neopixel blades wholesale for more money than regular lightsaber blades retail for. And so for me, where versatility is sort of the king for me, and what a lot of people that aren't going to have like a 5-6 lightsaber collection, versatility is valuable. And it makes it so that people don't have to buy as much stuff, which isn't like retailers don't operate on the assumption that they only want to sell you one of a thing. But I want people to be able to come to my site, buy a saber to do what they need. And then if at some point they want to buy more, awesome. But I want one saber to do all the stuff they needed to do and do it as economically as possible.
That's cool.
And so what I brought with me, a Neopixel saber, so that we can talk about how that works. But
yeah, please.
We've seen this saber in falling down. We've seen this saber in a lot of my videos recently.
A lightsaber.
Nice. And now that blade is like a 28-inch, but the sabers ship with this, which is a 36. And people that have been on my TikTok or seen me in other interviews or whatever, 36 is the longest that my manufacturer ships. And so at the moment, that's the longest thing I have available.
Okay.
People that want to compete, because there are lightsaber fencing tournaments in the same way that there's like Taekwondo sparring and boxing, etc.
Right.
Reach is one of the most dominant advantages to have in a weapon sport. And so most people will use as long a blade as they are legally allowed to use in the framework of the competition, because like regardless of your height, it's such a powerful advantage, and it's so difficult to overcome if your experience level and the other person's experience level are about the same, which is how the tournaments work, is you clump like similarly experienced people together. And so then reach becomes a much more important thing. And so as long a blade as I can possibly give somebody is what I ship with. But if somebody wants to be able to do tricks inside their house, this is not very manageable. Like right now I'm inside the martial arts school and we've got a 10-foot ceiling in here. And I could do a lot of stuff, but there's some things that if I try to do certain catches, I'm going to clip the ceiling. And if you're inside a normal person's house, it's not going to be a 10-foot ceiling. Or it might, but you'll have like ceiling fans and other things hanging down. That's why there's all those videos of people like they're practicing doing a lightsaber spin and then they clip a light or a ceiling fan, you know.
Right, they send something flying across the house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so these blades with a pipe cutter that you can get for about $10, I trimmed these to fit so that I could have a staff that was the total length that I wanted for a staff.
Okay.
And so I can practice with this. If I wanted to do that with a Neopixel Saber, not only would I not be able to cut them myself without also having to cut the LEDs that are inside the blade and some of this other stuff, I have to change the programming of the controller inside the handle. And so there's all these extra things if you want to change the length on a Neopixel that make it to where you've got to dive a whole lot deeper, and you can't do it easily.
Sure.
You can't do it quickly. There's a learning curve to it. Does a lot of cool stuff, but the limitation is like all of these things that are 5 minutes worth of work in your garage now instead take a whole lot longer, and you got to plug it into your computer.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And so I'm going to apologize for the flashing light that is about to happen here, because this is probably going to pulse.
We like flashing light.
So
Yes, please.
let's try this.
You see her attention instantly.
It got my attention. It got my attention instantly.
Now, when I turn this off, you'll notice the light travels from the top down back to the
Down,
bottom.
yeah.
And when I ignite it,
Goes back up.
Okay.
I love it.
So this is what they mean by Neopixel. So when somebody says Neopixel, what that actually means is that inside here,
It's wrong.
yeah, there's a red, a green, and a blue strip of LEDs, and each one is a pixel. And it's controlled by the electronics here in the handle. And so in order to get that effect where the light travels up, the individual pixels are igniting.
Okay.
And then it's doing this pulse effect where it's turning them on and off so that you get that cool shimmer.
Oh,
And
nice.
so then
Okay.
if I swing this while it's doing that, and so especially on camera, this is looking, it's got sort of a pulsating
Mhm.
view to it. And as I swing this,
Oh,
you can see how the LEDs going on and off, it create that sort of pattern in the swing of the blade, right?
Right. Yeah.
And so that's something that Neopixel can do, that what is called baselit. Whoop, turn off you.
and
We'll
that's
play
how
more
you lose a
later.
hand.
Yeah. This is the other nice part about the toys, is that you don't have to be as worried about edge discipline. But the baselit lightsabers can't do that. And so Neopixel can. So there's certain things that Neopixel can do that baselit or RGB lightsabers can't. And so this lightsaber
No.
is what's called baselit.
This is
And that means that the light is right here in the base.
Okay.
Okay. And so the light on the inside of this thing, it just looks like a flashlight. Oh, you weren't plugged in, were you? Oops. That's my fault. Stay.
I think
Use this one. And so this is it's just a flashlight. And there's a speaker down here, so it's a flashlight that makes noise. And this is just an empty tube that has a cellophane inside of it to carry the light up the length of the blade so that you get more
okay.
even color. Okay. And now you'll notice with this one, and so we've got brighter light here, and we've got this section up here that's a little bit dimmer, and then bright again as it gets to the end cap. Right.
Okay.
And so there's most of these, most of the companies that make these, the end cap's got a little mirror on the bottom of it that will reflect light from here back down into the top third so that you get more even light end to end. And then certain colors, it's going to look better than others on film. And it's always going to look different to your eyes than it does to the camera, because the lights in these things are so bright. It can be really, really difficult for a digital camera, especially, to translate what it's seeing. And so some of these are so bright that they get halos when you photograph them. Like you can see the light on my hand there in the film, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then as I get closer, even with this ring light pointed at me, the light off of this, you can see this whole red tinge that this creates because of how much it's emitting. And so inside this, and I'll show you guys what the electronics look like naked here in just a second. But there's an LED with a red, a blue, and a green diode. And so the combination of those three colors can make everything except for brown, gray, and black, because black isn't on the light spectrum.
Right.
And so cyan, dark blue, red, pink, purple, white from a couple of different directions, like everything is on the color wheel. And so this emits that the same way that like
I love all these colors, Mommy.
you love all the colors. That's excellent. That's part of the reason why I picked this manufacturer, because this is how it works. Whereas there are some other manufacturers that they have pre-programmed colors.
Right.
And so you can cycle through a certain number, but ultimately it comes down to, normally they have red, blue, green, purple, thanks to Mace Windu. And then sometimes they have orange, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they have a couple of different yellows, sometimes they have one yellow. And this gave people the flexibility, back to that, so that if they had an original character that they wanted to cosplay, they can attune their color to them without having to kind of be, you know, fixed. And then it also makes it so that a cosplayer that has a lot of light and dark side characters and things like that, they can get one thing.
That's cool.
Because cosplaying is already so expensive.
Right. Yeah. No, that's
It's
a really
so
cool
expensive.
idea. I like that.
So you offer your subscription to the online videos for lightsabers, or for lightsaber combat. So, I mean, obviously it's exercise, it's physical activity. So what are some of the physical benefits to learning lightsaber combat forms besides being able to choreograph these cool fights with your friends?
One of the most common things people talk about struggling with workout programs, nutrition programs, other things, is the motivation to continue. And so if it's something that has an output that you're excited to have, like choreographing something cool, and the activity itself is more fun, it's easier to stay disciplined to continue doing that. Because any exercise program, the thing that makes it work is discipline over time. And so there's that. One of the really beneficial things to sword work in general, and lightsaber lumps in with this, is posture, because you have to work so much stuff in your high back and middle back for it to all function correctly. And so most of us spend a lot of time kind of like this, or like this, because it's a phone. And so like all these muscles that we don't use for posture, well, in your training you do. And one of the nice things about doing a physical training that is consistent over time is that then when you're not training, if you're putting your body in a shape that's powerful, or a shape that works better, your body's going to choose that. If it's something that's better for the body, your body will choose it. But if you create a habit of being out of that shape, then your body returns to that shape because you created the habit. And so if you expose it to a better shape, it'll choose it more often without you actively thinking about it. And so if you work at a desk, one of the things people recommend is like taking breaks to stand up and adjust and walk around, because being sedentary can be so bad for your body. It also, being sedentary, cements all of these bad body shape things. And so if you've done lightsaber training or weapon training in general, then posture gets affected, and then it has ramifications other places. You might be standing in line at a grocery store, and your body will sort of like, you'll just sort of get the message. It's like, oh, this is better, and you'll just do it unconsciously. And that's one of the nice parts about martial arts in general, is it has these health effects outside of training that it makes you hold your body in a shape that's better for your body, where your lungs work better, your heart works better, your circulation's better, you think clearer, all that stuff.
Mom, show my baby now.
Okay. Do you want to ask him a question?
This isn't mine.
No, not just. Do you want to ask him what his favorite color lightsaber is?
Oh.
Blue.
You have a blue lightsaber, you're right.
Oh, you have a blue lightsaber? Is blue your favorite color lightsaber, or do you like other colors too?
What color do you like?
I got yellow.
Her favorite color is yellow.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Master Allen has a lot of yellow stuff.
Mom, what's the baby? How did the lightsaber?
Mommy's favorite color is purple.
No, it's
Mm.
not.
I would
No,
love a purple lightsaber,
I don't like
but I'm
baby
not
lights.
quite Samuel L. Jackson level cool.
The story behind the purple is so excellent. If
I love that
if you haven't
story.
heard it, it's so
Baby
fantastic.
started.
Daddy's favorite color is
We did
Favorite lightsaber color, I can't pick one, which is one of the other reasons why I landed on a lightsaber that lets me cycle. Because I really like using purple. I really like using yellow. I do really like using purple and yellow together because the contrast is really cool.
Mhm.
But caveat, so I'm originally from Massachusetts and I'm a Boston Celtics fan. And as a Boston Celtics fan, I need to recognize that all of the evil in the entire world is caused by the Los Angeles Lakers and sometimes the Philadelphia 76ers. But so the Los Angeles Lakers are purple and gold. And so
And this
I'm
is
really
how
glad I
Tim
caught you drinking with
dies.
that one. That was wonderful.
You got me on that one. That was good. All right.
Any Lakers fans that are listening to this, that is a joke. I have no animosity to you or the Lakers in general. Like I have metaphorical animosity, but not like
Not to the fans, but
Yeah.
screw the Lakers. But yeah, anyway,
I'm
go
not
ahead.
gonna, I'm not gonna start arguments with people over it because that's not cool. But so that's part of the reason why, like anytime I film yellow and gold, because I've done that several times because it looks really good on camera. I also then like intentionally and very purposefully shift off of it relatively quickly. And it's just like, and I realize it's kind of childish. I recognize that, but
I'm okay with that.
yeah, that's fine.
I'm okay with that.
Green and yellow is a really good duo, especially doing the work with the staff where like I get to have two colors.
Mhm.
Having two colors helps people that are watching a video trying to break it down figure out how it's rotating.
Sure.
Yeah.
And so that's why I do that most of the time. And
Yeah, that makes sense.
if I want to highlight speed, then you make both sides the same color, and it's harder, especially with a dark background, it's harder for your eyes to pick up what's going on. So it looks like it's moving faster just because of how your eyes and your brain work.
Okay.
And so splitting it so that the two sides are different colors is what I do most of the time, because it makes it easier for your brain to track what's going on. And so then it makes it easier for you to copy it, because you can see how it's moving more effectively. It also then gives you the chance to have more than one color at a time, and that's like option.
We
There
do
you
like
go.
options. It's easier to accessorize your lightsabers that way.
Exactly. It's got to match the outfit.
Exactly.
It's like a tie or, a significant other.
So we know
Okay.
that every Jedi and Sith build their own lightsabers, and sometimes they get multiple lightsabers. So with where you are with your progress in life, what would you say is your lightsaber build right now? Oh.
So this is what the tube looks like, and actually, this is one of the things that I filmed that is going to debut somewhere in the next couple of days, because somebody asked this question as a TikTok sort of a thing. So this, if I was only going to sell one thing on the site, it would be the gray XP boost handle, and it's this, because there's not boxes and like random things sticking off the side of it for me to rip my hands open on. Most of the lightsabers from the films and the shows and other stuff are just littered with things that will rip your hands apart.
Right.
And so like that's not something I want.
Yeah, they're made for look, not for function.
They look cool. They
I
look
do-
really cool, but they're hard to use.
I do have a follow-up question on that. Are there Phillips head screws in that one?
This uses a 2mm hex. 2mm hex.
Ah.
Um,
I've just seen that picture online so many times of in a galaxy far, far away, a long, long time ago. They used a Phillips head screwdriver. It's like,
it's not like a
it
hex key is
works.
any like it's not like a hex wrench is any different. It's, what's a falcon?
Right. So
But yeah, so if I was only going to sell to me, like if my website was just for me, if I was just this is it, this is the product I would carry in this color, and then it has the ability to take off this bottom piece, and I think I'm going to have to move here in just a second, as it looks like somebody's coming into the lesson. But now if I take this bottom piece off, this is now the same length as the bonus XP handle. And so if I need something that's a shorter length, it's already here. And
Nice.
this end cap, so the end cap on all the sabers on my site right now, all of them have the same end cap, and this end cap is a double-ended connector. And so then I can take any two and make a stack. They don't have to be the same color. They don't have to be the same handle design.
Oh, that's ingenious. Well done.
It's a hugely beneficial thing.
Okay. So I want to ask you one more question, and then we want to play a little quiz with you, and then we'll let you go about your business.
Sounds great.
So we talked about what some of your favorite sci-fis are. So what are some of your less favorite sci-fis? Like if this was on, it's not necessarily one that you hate, but not one that would keep you, like if I flip through the channels on TV and Star Wars is on, yeah, I'm going to stop and I'm going to watch Star Wars. It doesn't matter that I own all the movies and I have access to them on Disney Plus and all these other things. Star Wars is on.
Watched it immediately before. Like
Right.
Star Wars is on and Stan. Yeah.
Right. So what's
Shawshank
one that
Redemption is on and Stan. Yeah,
exactly. So what's one that you don't necessarily hate, but might not necessarily keep you on the channel?
This is sort of fringe sci-fi.
Okay. We like
'cause
fringe.
I consider comic books sci-fi adjacent, if that makes sense.
I'm good with that.
Iron Fist. The Netflix Iron Fist, I could there's so many things about it that bothered me or annoyed me that I've actively avoided talking about it a lot or making content about it because I don't want to be that kind of content creator.
Sure.
But there were so many things as a martial artist. There's so many things about that.
I was going to say, I think I feel similar, but I was pretty sure our reasons for disliking it were probably different. All right. Well, cool. It's been fun having a chance to talk with you here, Master Allen, getting to know you a little bit better. And but before we let you go, we want to run
the quiz.
I'll do a little quiz with you. So we have a 5-question quiz. They are multiple choice. It's all about lightsabers.
Okay.
So hopefully this will be right up your alley. Now, if you get 3 questions correct out of the 5, we want to send you I gave to the Red Shirt Widows and Orphans coffee mug.
I would love that.
Yeah, and if you get 4 questions correct, we will send you the mug, as well as this book here, Custodian. I'll move it back a little bit. Custodians of the Cosmos by Drayton Allen. Drayton is the founder of our Funny Science Fiction Facebook group, which is now up to 117,000 members, and he's an author. And so he wrote this book. It's about a young man who wanted to join Starfleet but failed the entrance exam. And so he decided the best way to do it was to become a custodian on the ship so that he could boldly clean up after those who had boldly just went. So, but we'll include that as well. So if you get 4 out of 5, you get the coffee mug and the book. However, if you get less than 3 in any form, either only 1 or 2 correct, we take a picture of you, we make a meme out of you, and we put it on our Facebook group.
Okay.
Do you agree to those terms?
I agree to your terms. If that happens, I will send both of you guys a lightsaber.
Whoa.
All right. Well, we are making these much harder questions.
Changing the questions now.
Tim's like, none
What's
of
in
them
my
are hard
pocket?
enough.
Is it the ring?
I did not realize that was the terms that were going to be levied back to us. I would have made this so much harder. All right. But
look at you trying to be the nice person, Tim.
I know, right? All right. So 5 questions, all multiple choice. Here we go. Question 1.
I'm ready. Okay.
This item is invulnerable to a lightsaber attack. Is it steel, Zillow, or Trillium?
It's the Zillow Beast.
Correct.
Got 1.
I thought that was going to be longer. Like I was just like, all right, okay. Oh no, okay.
No,
Trillium is Trillium Star Wars, or is that a different? It doesn't matter.
I think it's Star Trek actually.
Yeah.
All right, question 2.
Okay, all right. Beskar is going to be the easy one. Is Beskar going to be on here? Oh no, we only have 3. Okay. All right. 2 questions.
Question 2. The main ingredient of a lightsaber that without it the lightsaber would not work is A, power coils, B, modulation circuits, or C, cyber crystal.
Kyber crystal.
Kyber, sorry.
It's
Distracted.
okay.
It is, and I know that, and it's in front of me, and I could have. But
parent life in quarantine with a toddler. I'm right there with you.
and she's
It's
over
all
here
good.
singing and watching Blippi, and I don't even know what's happening anymore.
Oh, yours found Blippi too. I'm sorry.
I'm
sorry.
Yeah.
I know your pain. Oh man, I know your pain.
All right, so you are 2 for 2. All right.
No sabers, guys. I'm sorry.
Okay.
The lightsaber duel between Obi-Wan and Darth Vader in New Hope is based on what martial arts mastery? Is it Kendo, Kenjutsu, or Arnis?
So Arnis is one of the Philippine martial arts. So Kali Eskrima Arnis is usually it's called FMA as like a Google search. It's not that. Kenjutsu and Kendo are 2 subtly different things about the same stuff. And so
I will say that one of these is the answer and the other one I just threw in because Google said it was pretty similar.
and so the answer should be Kenjutsu. Whether that is actually the answer or not is sort of secondary, but it should be Kenjutsu. But because Kenjutsu is, or more accurately, Kendo is Kenjutsu sport.
Okay. Well, see, the article called it Kendo. So.
Okay. So Kendo is the hardest competitive martial art in the world. And so just so that you can appreciate this, hold on. All right. So the sword you use in Kendo is called a shinai, and it is strips of bamboo that are tied together with some strings so that when you get hit by it, it doesn't bruise as often. It doesn't hurt any less, it's just less likely to bruise. Now, there is a piece of leather about this far down from the tip. And if you hit your opponent with this section of the shinai, it doesn't count, no point. So you got to hit them with this part. And in most Kendo, you're not allowed to stab them. And so you got to bonk them. You can't stab them. Now, there's a string, because this is round. And there's a string. And the string shows the judges where the back of the blade is. And so if I don't hit you with the edge, I don't get a point. Oh, okay. All right. And now, come on through, Claudia. And now, this is where it gets bonkers. The point areas are do, meng, and kote. And if you don't call it before you hit it, no point.
Oh, wow.
Also, if you don't hit hard enough that the judge determines that it would have worked, no point. So it has to have been hard enough to kill him, have to call it before you make contact, has to be the right part of the round blade. The round blade has to be oriented the right way in order to get a point.
So it's very much not just whack-a-mole. So.
But yeah, so I believe you that it's Kendo, that's fine. Kenjutsu is just samurai sword work in general. And then because Ken is the Japanese word for sword.
Okay.
And so Kendo is the fencing, and that's like, you know, all the kit and bamboo sword and all that kind of jazz. And then Kenjutsu is most Kenjutsu you see is going to be with a wooden sword shaped thing called a boken. Boken, wooden sword.
Okay.
But I got that one wrong. Okay, fine.
No, I'm actually going to count
it wrong.
I'm going to count it. So we're going to say 3 for 3.
Okay.
No, seriously, I
legitimately think that they got it wrong.
You made a compelling argument, and I'm not going to say that Bob from whatever Star Trek or Star Wars article I was reading had it right. So, but yeah, we'll go with that. I like it.
All right. Question 4. Although there are many lightsabers, how many dark sabers are there? A, 5, B, 3, or C, 1?
There's one.
There is one.
There's one.
You have to win it.
That's right.
Nobody can give it to you. You have to take it. Because if you are the best, nobody can give it to you. You have to take it.
Yeah.
And if somebody wants to be the best, they have to beat you.
There you go.
And if you handed it to somebody, they're not the best. You're still the best. So they got to take it.
Which is why in Rebels, why Sabine had a hard time with it being given to her.
Mhm.
All right. So question 5, even though you already got the book, you already got the mug. This is just for funsies.
If I go 5 for 5, then I'm still going to, I'll talk to you guys later. We'll sort out some saber stuff.
All right, cool. All right.
Especially since you just gave me one.
All right. True or false, and explain your answer. Kyber crystals are sentient.
Mm.
Oh no, baby, slow. It's falling down in water.
Okay. I'm gonna go with true, because. So what I would say, the word that I would use rather than sentient is empathic.
Okay.
And because the new canon,
Hey. Oh.
a kyber crystal chooses its owner,
Correct.
and a kyber crystal chooses its color based on the owner.
Correct.
And so it's hard to say that that is inherently sentient because they don't display other facets of sentience. But and this is something I really, really love about the new canon, side note, is what they have done with kyber crystals. The idea that it's an emotional connection with the creation of the lightsaber, I think, is fantastic.
Yeah.
The making it so that the color of the blade is not your job, it's a reflection of your personality, is like, I really love
cool.
what that says, and it makes it so much easier for people to connect, I think.
Yeah, I like the fact that it's talking, it shows who you are, not what you do.
Yeah.
So
5 for 5. All right.
5 for 5. You not one of these days I'm going to make these quizzes a lot harder. Clearly that was not today.
Don't.
If you have a loser on your show, it makes it less fun.
Well, we've had a couple that are meme worthy, and had you made it into the memes, you would have been in pretty decent company rather. Dan Povenmire is the co-creator of Phineas and Ferb, is one of our meme recipients. Another gentleman.
To talk to Povenmire?
Oh yeah,
I watched that episode. What am I saying?
But still, it's one of those that you're like, oh, you got to, yeah.
And
that's how I
coming
felt
up
the whole time doing it too.
And actually, just a couple days ago on Monday, it'll be coming out in a few weeks here. We just talked with Anna Graves, who voices Duchess Satine. So that'll be coming out here shortly as well.
Really good company. God.
That was a really cool interview too.
Yeah. So, and yeah, we talked with Julie Dolan, who did the voice of Princess Leia. But yeah, as far as meme recipients so far, it's just been Povenmire, Frank Duran, who hosts the Warped Shelf podcast. Frank is one of my favorite guests we've ever had on here. We also brought him back as a guest host. Frank is a trip. I love that guy. He cracks me up. He's from Boston, gets real worked up on things, and he's just a cool dude. Yeah. And then also we have who was the other meme recipient?
Robin Curtis volunteered to be a meme.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Robin Curtis. She played Lieutenant Savak in Star Trek 3 and 4.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so she volunteered for a meme, even though she got the quiz. So
yeah, even though she got 5 for 5 on the quiz.
Yeah, so you would have been in good company had you got it. So
I mean, I'd meme. That's fine. I'll meme.
There you go.
Do you guys want to meme me? I'll meme.
Sure.
What do you want me to do?
Tim's always good for memeing.
That's right.
What do you want me to do?
Well, hold on a second. I'm making your picture bigger so I can take pictures of your picture. It's a thing. It's a process. You know, and then there's the technology that needs to work along with it. Whatever you would like to do. That's good. I like that. There we go. I'll just take about half a dozen pictures. There we go, and we'll find the one that works.
They're always a good one.
I'll make something out of it.
That sounds good.
Awesome.
So.
Well, thank you so much for being on the show.
Longer. I'm sorry, I'm so wordy.
No,
that's
you're
okay.
fine. Thank you for being on the show, and thank you for rolling with it. It's been a day. So
come back, I'll bring my daughter or my son.
There you go.
So can you give us the information so that people can find your website and your TikTok and everything?
On TikTok, I am at Level Up Light and then the number 1, which implies that at some point maybe there'll be more of us. I don't know. The website is www.leveluplightsaber.com, and that gets you to the training site. And there's a link to the shop site there. So if you are in the market for a lightsaber that's better than a stick, I know a guy. Right now we've got 3 handle designs. There's the bonus XP, the XP boost, and the shroud. And I've waved all of those at the camera at some point today or another. And we'll be adding Neopixel soon for the people that need Neopixel. For the people that don't, everything's base lit, which we already talked about. But that's who I am. It's what I do. Yeah.
We will definitely link the website and your TikTok in our description so that people can find you super easily.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, we'll put all that information in there. So we want to remind everybody that subscribing is the single most important thing that you can do to ensure that we get more amazing guests like Master Alan here and funny moments for you to listen to. So please subscribe. It's going to do us a world of good. And then when you're done subscribing to our YouTube and our podcast on your favorite podcast destination, go over to TikTok, subscribe to Master Alan as well. You won't be disappointed with his content. I'm a subscriber. I follow him on TikTok. I think his stuff is great. And by the way, if you are not happy with the content of our video today, all you have to do is submit, in triplicate, of course, to our Chief Complaint Officer, Hu Yang, who is also a lightsaber droid. He will review your complaints in the order that they have been received when he has free time, you know, when he's done helping the younglings assemble their fancy Force labor swords. So you might be waiting a bit. It's a thing. Thanks again, Master Alan. We really appreciate having you on the show.
Thank you so much. I hope I get to talk to you guys again.
Oh, I'm sure we will.
Goodbye, everyone, and thank you for watching.
Goodbye.
Our show is brought to you by our charity sponsor, the Red Shirts Widows and Orphans Fund, which supports the Wish Upon a Teen Foundation that helps out sick kids when they need it most. And just imagine the comfort you'll give Red Shirt crewman number 64. He'll know that when he puts on the red shirt and accidentally turns on his lightsaber while looking into it, 2 minutes after leaving the building, that he didn't leave his family destitute and without hope, because the Red Shirts Widows and Orphans Fund has his back and his right eye.
On behalf of the rest of the hosts of Funny Science Fiction, we'd like to thank you for listening to this episode. If you'd like to be a guest on one of our future episodes, please contact us by means of our Facebook group, Funny Science Fiction. You can find us on Twitter or Instagram using the handle @FunnySciFi, or you can go to DraytonAllen.com and click the Contact Me link at the bottom of the page. Thanks again. Hope you enjoyed the episode.